Hello, hello, my dear friends. So glad you came by to see me today. I'm really happy that you're here. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a I don't want to call it a tutorial. It's how I make waterfalls. I've gotten a lot of comments about them, and so I want to kind of break it down and just concentrate on making a waterfall today for y'all who are interested. All right. Before we do anything else, though, and of course I'm going to read God's word. I have called thee by name, thou art mine. Isaiah 43:1. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Thereby good shall come unto thee. Job 22:21. Oh my goodness, wonderful. And I have some shout outs. What I'm going to say may sound tongue-in-cheek, but yesterday, in one of my last videos, I made the comment, oh, so if you haven't subscribed. I've been stuck at 238. Well, I don't have any new subscribers, but somebody unstuck me because somebody unsubscribed, so now I'm at 237. I don't know what that's all about, but anyway. I love you all that are subscribed to my channel. You mean the world to me. All right, so my shout outs today are several. Gwen, Tamara's Creative Cottage, Candy from Candy's Crafty Creations, Gigi Hanna, Tony's Magical Arts and Crafts, Susan Gazaway Paper Crafting, Susie Crafting, and Craft Room, and Susie, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. And when I was writing this down, Susie's Craft Room and Studio. Oh, I'm so sorry, Susie. Selena, Deb's The Creative Book Shack, Mary Jo Crafting and Dolls, Debbie Kelly, and Melinda 4815. As always, thank you for your beautiful, wonderful comments. I appreciate them so much. I would have started this video probably an hour ago, but before I do that, I sit at my computer and I read every comment and respond back. So, and it's one of my joys, one of my big joys. So anyway, what else? Was there anything else? No, I don't think so. So let's just get started. So I'm not making a themed waterfall. I just chose some little well, they're not little photos, they're little images of flowers. I thought they were pretty. And I decided I wanted to use a paper that hopefully I'll be able to get everything out of. The only thing I might not be able to get out of this is the base for it, but I've got another sheet of this paper so I can cut another one up. So there's lots and lots of videos, tutorials out there about making waterfalls. When I was wanting to learn to make them, I watched several videos and found them really confusing. I don't know why. I'm a somewhat intelligent person, but for some reason I just had a mental block about it. And like many other things that I have wanted to do, but I was afraid to attempt, I just kind of stood back from it. But I really wanted to learn to make waterfalls, so I just persevered until it made sense to me. Now, I'm not going to call this a tutorial. I'm just going to try to show you how I make waterfalls. And everybody has their own, we all have our own way of doing things, and that is certainly true in this case. So the first thing when you're making a waterfall, you want to pick out your images, whatever you're going to use. These are single-sided images. And I wouldn't, the most I've ever gone is 5, but you can go really as many as you want as long as they'll fit on your journal page or whatever you're going to use them for. And the way that you know that is I lay my images down on my grid. You can do it measured however you want. I'm not really measuring, I'm just, and then every ½ inch, because that's where we're gonna glue, is every ½ inch. And see how much room that takes up, plus the size of the mats that I'm going to mat them on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now if I was to add a 5th one of this size, it would come to 7½. So by the time you get your mats on, that's going to take up, you know, about another ½ inch. So we're looking here at 6½ inches, which is really a good size for your journal page. 6 is what I really prefer. And I'm not giving you measurements today because every image you might want to use is going to be a different size. You just have to decide what image you want to use and then make sure it's not too large of an image. You can make them real small if you want to, but I wouldn't go too big. Again, it depends on how you want to use it. If it's just going to be a freestanding or a gift for somebody or a card, that also can determine how big you make it. And most generally I make them for my journals, to put in my journals as an embellishment or an interactive piece, because I love interactive pieces. The last several months before I started my journal, I started really appreciating interactive elements and how they add to a journal. So this measures, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, 6, I said 6, 7. So this is going to be 7½ inches total. Now, the problem I have with this is you need a strip that you're going to glue these on, and that's what's going to make your mechanism. Mechanism sounds really technical. It's not technical at all, and I'll show you what I mean. But I need to decide, because I may need to piece my strip or mechanism, whatever you want to call it, together to get enough length. You know, if I just use 3 images, which maybe I'll just do that just for the sake of this video. So if I just use 3 images, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to me is the perfect size. So I might just go with the 3 images. Either that, or I could cut these images down a little bit. So I think I'm going to go just with the 3 images. I'm going to set one of them aside. So what do I want to use? I think I want to use these 3. So I'm going to set that one aside. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is cut my mats. So I need 3 mats that are, this is 4½ inches by 3¼ inch. So I need 5 inch by 3¾ inch mats, and I'm going to mat them on this piece of paper. And I like to make my strip or mechanism a little bit narrower than my images. So because these are 3¼ I'm going to make them about 3 inches. I'm going to make my strip about 3 inches. And I'm going to try to just use this piece of paper for everything. Maybe I'll make it 2 3/4 inch. Yeah. Okay, then we're going to set this aside for right now. Now this is double-sided paper. I would suggest you don't need to use double-sided paper for your mats. I mean, you don't even really need mats. But this is, I'm showing you how I prefer doing it. But there are some things you could not do if you choose to do that. And one would be matting these, but I prefer matting them because I like the look of it. So I'm gonna this is a very important piece right here. So I'm going to cut 3 pieces of this at 3 3/4. I'll cut it this way first. 3 3/4 by 5. So I know I'm going to need another sheet of paper if I want to get my background out of here too. Hopefully this is not going to be too big. No. So there's 1. 2. And I need 1 more, so I think I'll go this way. How wide is this? This is 5 inches. I think I'll go this way. So I need 3 3/4. So I'm just making my mats a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch bigger than my images. And this is by 5. Okay. So let me set this aside for the moment. So I'm going to glue these images on here and around my corners because I like to round the corners once, and then I will ink around these. I'm not going to ink around everything. I don't particularly like that look for these unless you're doing a grungy piece for, you know, a journal that's grungy. And these were bigger. I cut them down a little bit because for one reason my cutter took a bite out of one of the pieces, so I just trimmed them down a little. Now you can use any sort of images you want. You can cut them from a cut and collage book. You can cut them from a magazine or other book with images that you might have. It doesn't matter where you get the images from. Okay, so I am going to do ink around these. I want to thank everyone who wished me, sent me get well thoughts and prayers. I so appreciate that. And I am feeling so much better today. You can probably tell by just the sound of my voice. I was concerned that I was going to wake up this morning sick because I went to bed with my throat was still very sore. And I also was just running a very low-grade fever, so I thought, oh, I'm going to be in for it. But no, I feel wonderful. I still have a tinge of a sore throat, but nothing at all to be concerned about. So thank you guys for your prayers and your concern and your love that you poured out to me. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and I want to round these corners as well. And I may have enough to, that I'll be able to mat this and get the little strip for the, so I may be able to get all this out of the one 12-inch piece of paper. Now this is personal preference. You do not have to do this around your corners. You can ink or not ink. You can do whatever you want. I just happen to prefer the look of the rounded corners, and I just don't want to ink all of this because because it's a little bit brighter, more, I don't know, happier look. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't like to ink certain things. Okay, so now I'm going to try my best to center these up in here, on here. And as you can see, you have a nice space around your image. So I'm going to glue these down. And I thought I had my glue working before I came on. I really did. I cleaned out the nozzle and tested it and everything. Of course, it needs to be filled, but I don't think that's the immediate problem. So if I didn't say this, I'm going to say it now. I hope everybody's doing well today. This will be Saturday for you when this video goes out. I'm hoping to get a video done for later today of Amy from Crafty Cats, her 50 Stack Challenge 7, hashtag 50 Stacks Challenge 7. Oh, come on, you. What in the world? Because I didn't do one this week. I'm going to finish the orange journal off camera. I think I've got everything I need for it. I just need to finish putting it together, and there's some little journaling cards and things that I want to put in the pockets. Well, Maggie, come on. Usually I can get it right straight in there. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, this just is not going to work, and I don't really want to use this bigger nozzle because I don't want the ink pouring out in a minute. You'll see why, what I'm talking about. Not this here right now, but I'm going to have to use the old finger to spread this because that was a big glob right there. And I have looked high and low. I was talking about a video that I watched, or partially watched. I saved it. I thought I saved it because I wanted to go back and watch it in its entirety, about making mats, little mats of varying sizes that would guide you when you're trying to lay something like this down so you get it down straight, because I know I have a real problem doing this. It's either crooked or too high or too low, and it bugs me to no end. And it seems sometimes the harder I try, the worse I make it. I know probably in the camera you say, Maggie, that's not straight. But I don't want to be at this forever. I want to kind of move it along. Now the other thing you need to do as far as your images are concerned is once you've got them prepped, cut out the size you want and matted, then you need to decide which one you want to be the top image, because that's the one that's going to be seen the most, because it's going to be on the very top. I'm going to use those. I don't know if those are some, I can't read it. I don't know why I just don't leave my glasses on when I'm doing these things. Oh, I was going to tell you guys, if you ever get a strange or badly spelled comment from me on one of your videos, please forgive me, because sometimes I'm watching them early in the morning before I get out of bed and I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can't always see what I'm writing. And I was thinking about that earlier. Well, I've thought about it before, but I thought, oh my goodness, I hope I spelled everything right. And didn't. Oh dear. So if you ever get something that's badly misspelled or just doesn't make a lot of sense, please forgive me. It's just because I don't have my glasses. I can't see it very well. All right, so here's my images, and I want this image to be on top. Okay, now I'm going to set these to the side for a moment. And I'm going to get this strip out. Now I found that just folding this in half usually will work. You can make it a little bit shorter. Actually, let's leave about an inch. Okay. Okay. This is going to be what makes your waterfall work. And we are going to score this. I'm going to get this little scoreboard out. And I already scored the first one, so I only need to score 2 more times. Because you need, I need a space for 3 images. You might need a space, you might need 4 images or 5 images. But I need 3. So I need to score 3 times at 1.5 inch. Not 1.5 inch, I'm so sorry. 1/2 inch. So this is my second one. I'm going to score this just to make sure that this paper came from a Desert Craft paper pad. I love these paper pads because it's a beautiful weight of cardstock. It's not real heavy, but it's not real flimsy either. And I buy them on Amazon, and they come, I think there's 36 papers, 12 by 12. And it depends on the pad, but it'll tell you, sometimes they're all double-sided and sometimes they're not. But I really like it. I like the weight of the paper. I like the, you know, I just enjoy these paper pads, and I try to, when I see a new one, I try to get it every once in a while. Not, you know, I can't get them every one of them, but. Okay, so I've got my 3 score lines. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you fold this back and forth. It's not complicated, just make sure that these little folds are going to fold easily in both directions, and you want to try to keep this strip level, just like you want to, I mean, even when you put your put your images on here. Okay, so that's all this is. It's just, I used 12 inches. Sometimes I fold it in half, but it's not really necessary. It depends on how many images you're putting on. So I have 3 score lines here. Just a plain strip of paper, folded, not quite in half. I've got maybe an inch. I folded it up about an inch. And then the first fold is for your first image. The second fold is for your second image, and the third fold is for your third image. Or another fold for your fourth, and so on. So this is what makes it work. And it depends on what side you want to show when on this down here, because this is what's going to show. So you could flip it. Oh, let me see here. Maybe you can't flip it around once you've got it. So you have to decide before you score this which side you want this on. You know, which side you want to pull down. All right, so now we've got this strip that makes it work, or what everybody refers to as the mechanism. And I always start with the image on the bottom first. And I'm going to ink these just so, I usually don't ink these, but I just want you to see the lines and where I'm gluing. Okay. So hopefully you can see those now. All right. So I start with my bottom image first. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what the heck I'm doing. And I'm going to glue this not above the line, not on the line, but just below the line, and try to center your image on the strip. Okay, so I'm going to take this glue, hopefully it doesn't pour out, because you don't want to glue your image down. It's got to be able to move. You just want to put a little bit of glue up the top. And that's too big a strip. Oh, I knew this was going to happen with this. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this. Try to get it even on both sides. Right below that fold line, that score line. Get that extra glue off of there. Okay, let me try this again. I know this needs to be refilled. And probably this little tip just, I mean, I poked the pen way down in there, but it's just not coming out. So I'm not even squeezing that bottle, I'm just tipping it. But you just need a very thin, you just need a little bit of glue. And then now this part you really want to line your cards up so they fall even with each other, so one's not sticking out or they're not going wonky off in one direction, because it will not work as well if that happens. So there. Now we've got our last one. this on here. This is my top image. Okay. So now the hard work is done. Whoops. That's not sticking there. Hey buddy, work with me here. Maybe I better let this dry just a minute. I think I picked that up a little bit too aggressively. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that dry for a minute. Now what we need to do, I can take the rest of this 8x8 piece, and I'm going to use this side. This is going to be my base. Now, if you're just, I put this in my journal, on a journal page. Let me pull my green journals up here. So let me show you what I mean. Where is it? Right here. So I put it on a journal page, but I put a mat under it. And because I like the way that works, you don't have to do that. You could just put it right down on your page once I show you what you need to do. And see, there you go. I just like to have the mat around it. I just think it adds a little bit something extra to it. Or you could, like I said, just put it down on the journal page without the mat. Or you could, like I said, use it as a standalone piece that it would need to be on a base. So this all has something to attach to. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. I got, almost 6 inches. All right. Should be longer than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, because I took out the one picture. 6 3/4 inch by 1, 2, 3, 4 inch. Uh-oh. Annabelle, excuse me. Sorry about that. Crisis averted. So I'm going to make this about 7 inches by 5 inches. Let's just see if that works. And that'll give me enough. Should give me enough for the little band that I need. Inches. Now you do not have to be precise in your measurements for this. You know, you really, when it comes right down to it, you just want it to be how you like it. And this will fit on the journal page. Actually, this should probably be a different color altogether because it really is. I was hoping for a little bit more contrast, but that's all right. Even if I really wanted to, I could put another piece under this, but I'm not going to do that. Let me see here. I don't know. So I could even do like this. And that might make it look a little bit better, but I'm not going to complicate it with another piece. All right, so when you open this back up like this, we need to make a little band that goes around this, and this might not be long enough. I need a longer strip. This is long enough, but it's too narrow, I think. I don't like it to be that narrow. So this is 5. Well, I can just make the belly band out of a piece of white cardstock. That's not white enough, I don't think. I find one down here that was a misprint. Oh, this wasn't a well, yeah, it was. I used part of it for something. So I'm going to cut a strip off of here. This is really not going to be seen, so it doesn't matter. And I'm going to make this about 1.5 inches. I think 1.5 inch is a good size for this. And what this piece does is it will hold this down to the page and keep this in place so that you can slide this strip that has your images on it now up and down. And I'll show you in just a minute. So the easiest way, and you may have an easier way, it doesn't matter how you do this really. I just kind of, I don't want this real tight, but yet I don't want it real loosey-goosey either. I don't want the mechanism or the strip or the waterfall to be moving around a lot. So let me score this. So I'm just putting a score line where I marked it there because it needs to be about that width. And let me score this as well. Oh, that doesn't need to be scored. This one does. This poor little scoreboard has got glue all over it. All right, so then all I do is just fold it over and cut it off where it sort of laps, you know, touches, so you can make an overlap. And so now I have an overlap. See, it just folds like this. Now I can, first of all, I can kind of test this to make sure that this is, because you don't want it too tight. You know, you want this thing to move easily up and down, and that does. And that's how I get this size. I don't guess at it. I just wrap a piece of paper around it and you know, make sure that it fits like that. You don't need to make any fancy measurements, or, you know, there's nothing scientific about it. Sometimes we just make things too difficult, I think. And I hope that I'm making this simple enough, or explaining it well enough so that you'll be able to make one yourself without any problem. And the glue spread on the inside of here, I don't want that to stick. Otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. I think we're all right. Okay, so I'm going to put this once it's closed, gotta make, yeah, see, it goes nice. Okay, now this I try to bring down far enough so that the cards will not get stuck on it, because usually my problem happens when I haven't, let me close this all up, when I haven't brought this band down far enough, and then when I pull on it, the images get stuck at some point. So I think about there is good. I just put a dot of glue so that if it is too far or it's not far enough, I can pull it up without doing a lot of damage. I go back and glue it when I'm done. And then the bottom, your bottom image can be glued to this flap here as well. And again, I just use a little bit of glue. Okay, so just to quickly review, you've got your strip that your images are glued to. You've got made a little belly band to go around this to hold it in place. Now I'm just letting it dry a minute. This bottom picture or bottom image is glued down. See your flap, your strip is right here. Here's where your score lines are. Your strip comes down here. This is the back part of it that you pull on. And that piece on top right there that's next to the bottom image, you just glue the image to it. You want that stationary, and you want then this top piece of your strip glued to this belly band. You do not want this glued to anything but itself, you know, because you want to join it. So this, you don't want it glued to anything, and you don't want this piece glued to anything. These have to move freely. Okay, so now let's just give it a trial run and see if it's going to work. And it does, but it needs to be put down on a solid surface. So let me finish the mat. I'm just going to round these corners. Okay, and I'm going to try to center this on here again as best I can. Although I do want to make sure this is going to work before I glue it down. So I'm going to hold on to the belly band. Oh, I see what the problem is. Need some more glue in here. I hope this works for anybody that has any questions. If you have any questions about it, just leave me a comment, ask a question, and I'll answer it the best I can. This is having a problem because it's not stable anything. That's what, okay, let me go ahead and glue it down. And then if it doesn't work, I'm going to, okay, so this, I'm gonna glue this down to the base, but only the belly band part. That's it, nothing on this strip. There's no glue at all on this strip except where your images are glued up there and where the last image is glued down. Let me let this dry for just a minute. But these really are not hard to make, and once you make one and you kind of see for yourself how it works, and this isn't on here straight, but I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to tear it up. Okay, hopefully it's dried enough. See? Whoops. Now see, this paper could do to be a little bit stiffer, but now if you want to put something on the back, which I do that many times, you want to be sure that the image that you put there, whatever it is, I had some things here, they don't go with this, but I'm just going to try to show you what I mean. Now I can't find it. Well, let me take one of these. So here, this little die cut says, "Gather you and feast with grateful hearts." So you want this to show when you flip it up. So when you lay it down like this, on the opposite side of this has to go upside down. You have to remember that. Or when you flip this up, it's right side up. If you put it on the same way that you put your image on the front on, say like this, then when you flip this, this is going to be upside down. But we're not doing that today. Okay, so let's try this again. It's a little bit more. There. So there you go, just like that. Now, I could, probably what I would do is around these corners, and get this in here. Maybe I'll use this smaller. I should have rounded them before I glued everything down. Okay, I can round the corners. You can write pull on here. You can do like I did on the green journal, where I put an eyelet and put a little charm to pull it down. You could just put a ribbon on here and pull this so you have something to kind of indicate that it needs to be pulled down. I've seen it done all sorts of different ways. You can kind of do whatever suits you and whatever you're using it for. That will kind of determine. If I was putting this in a journal, I would probably put an eyelet here with a bulb pin and either a couple of beads on it or a little charm, flower charm probably. Now this would look real pretty, say in a flower journal or maybe a botanical journal. And I'll put this away with my ephemera and I'll have it in case I need it for something. So does this help? I hope it does. You know, you need your main piece are your images and your mats if you're going to mat them. And then that strip of paper, which is called the mechanism. That's the actual thing, the mechanism that makes it worse. But it's just a strip of paper with some score lines in it, however, how many score lines you have for how many images you have. And that's all that it is. It's nothing, there's nothing tricky about it at all. Just a strip of paper folded with some score lines. All right, well, I hope this helps. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know if it made sense and if you learned anything from it or found it useful. I'm not, I don't make tutorials on my channel. There's so many videos out there of people who are far more talented and experienced than I am that make tutorials every day about so many things. So I just am showing you how I do it, what I found that works for me, And I hope that you find it helpful and that it might work for you as well. So I'm going to get off of here for now. I love you all. I pray for you all every day. You're all very dear to my heart. Help me to get, I want to get unstuck, but I want to go in the right direction. Oh, that's funny. But anyway, yeah, I love you all, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.